got one. It's exciting. It's a little chilly. But yeah, hopefully we found a good spot. We're way the hell in here. Doesn't appear to be anybody around, so you just never know on this first day, right? It's kind of a crapshoot, but hopes are high. Yeah, trying to keep warm.
I like archery elk hunting for the same reason every other person who does it likes it, and that's because bull screaming in your face is pretty fun.
Archery is something that takes forever to build up to a spot where you become successful. I think in the last 10 years or so, I think I've taken 8 elk with a bow, and I think it's about an even split between elk that were called in either by me or for me, and elk that I simply either ambushed or still hunted and snuck up on. And I like that mix. You know, I wish I was a great caller. You know, I think Brad's a really good caller. There's obviously the phenomenal callers of the world. I don't know that's gonna ever be me.
It's just fun to hunt them when they're rutting, and it's just you against them. You gotta match your wits with theirs, try and trick them for a brief moment into thinking you're an elk so you can put an arrow in them. Sometimes that feels super easy, and sometimes it feels like absolutely impossible.
I'm 46 right now. Thankfully, my body's holding together pretty good. I can move through the mountains quickly, and if you're a good caller and you're fit and can cover country, that is a recipe for success. Yeah, that's what Brad uses. That's what some other really good hunters use. They just cover a lot of country. They can call into a lot of areas, and they'll find, you know, a cooperative bull at some point. And so I only have like half of that skill set. I can move through the mountains pretty good. Yeah, I'm not the best, but I'm still hanging in there pretty good. And, but that's okay. It just makes me feel like I have to sharpen a few of my other tools.
Spent all day yesterday packing in here. This is the spot I'm hunting with my buddy Josh Kuntz. And we've never been in here before, in this spot. It's incredibly remote and wild. Haven't heard really any bugling. I thought I heard a distant one our first morning, which is really disappointing. I just expected to come in here and just have like 40 bulls just going bananas, but you know, sometimes it doesn't go like that. So we're just gonna do a giant walk today. Try and kill some elk. And this is like, for both of us, this is a meat hunt. I'm coming here to get some meat, so I'm not gonna be picky about what I shoot if I get the opportunity.
I feel like sometimes I get a little deeper understanding of an area if I'm intentionally trying to learn it versus simply walking through it, listening for elk, calling into basins. Managed to find a pretty nice bull and a cow way at the head of this basin. They're quite a ways off, and we're just trying to figure out how we're going to spend our day because they're in a good spot, like as far as we're going to know where they're at. But by the time we get there, the thermals are probably going to shift, so we just have to be smart about how we approach them. There's another bull that we think is right below us that we lost sight of this morning. It's just one of those times where you have to either kind of commit for a whole day this way or going towards the country we were planning to. But as the old saying goes, you don't leave elk to find elk. So we found a good bull with a cow. It's the only bull we've seen with a cow. So far, we've only seen bachelor groups. And this is the biggest bull we found so far, so I think it makes sense that we head up this way. It's gonna be slow going. It looks pretty rugged, and we have to be smart with the wind. Every once in a while, I do run into some tone-deaf elk that thinks I actually sound okay. I've called in a couple over the years. Those are probably some that weren't gonna survive very long anyways.
screwed that up. I was trying to draw him down to you, and I was trying to sound like an elk running around down here. So I was down here, I was like running around, and then I would bugle, and I would cow call, and I was getting worked up, and then next thing I know, he's like trotting at me, and which I did not. I mean, I thought, well, that's probably going to happen eventually because he's going to get mad, which he did.
Oh, you had him so worked up?
He was just like, he was torqued, fully torqued.
It was like when he committed, he just came in hot.
Yeah, and then I just made like the rookie mistake of, I was going to draw. It happened so fast, I couldn't see him until he was like almost on top of me. I was like, oh, I'll draw right when he goes behind that tree. And then he went in front of the tree, not behind the tree. And then he was like in my lap. And I was just like, felt like an idiot. I was just like, you moron.
How close do you think you got?
I think he was like 7 yards. Yeah. When I first started archery elk hunting, I called way too much, like bugled too much. And now I don't do that nearly as much.
Next plan, nap time. There's just an enormous wallow down here. I've maybe only seen one or two ever that are bigger than that. It's just, I mean, it's like the city swimming pool of wallows. There's just mud trampled around it all over the place. Clearly gets a lot of traffic. It's interesting because we're over on the dry side of the mountain, right? It's like, there's decent water, but not a ton of wallows, so this one is hot spot.
I bugle to find an animal, and as soon as I locate him, I try not to call at all until I get in close.
You know, every good elk hunter pretty much has some sort of balance of effort and intuition. Brad's real high on the effort scale on that balance in most hunts. I'm a little more on the intuition side. There's a bull with a real deep growl of a bugle we heard here in the dark, so we're trying to sneak in on him. Thankfully, he's in the exact line we were planning to go, so with any luck, we'll get in on this guy. It's a good way to start a day, that's for sure.
Especially if a bull has cows. If you don't know if he has cows, you sound aggressive, and the first thing he's going to want to do is run away, take his cows and go away because he doesn't want to fight. And I've just done that so many times. And if you can get in close, and get aggressive, and give him no choice but to turn around and fight you, like, they will come.
So, Brad is a highly impatient hunter. I have seen him, been on hunts with him, where we've been in elk most of the day and had elk literally run through our camp as we were returning in the evening. But I only heard a handful of bugles, and he insisted we hiked the 5 miles back out. We had just hiked in and set up camp the day before. I had actually shot an elk on the hike in. And the next day, while I was packing mine out, Brad was in a bunch of elk. I got back to camp. Elk were stirring around our camp, and Brad was like, it's not quite good enough. We should completely relocate and hike out of here.
I like to cover ground until I find something that wants to work. And if I don't, then I just keep walking. Usually, if you cover enough ground, you can find a bull that's willing to work.
God, I couldn't tell, man. It sounds super echoey. Like I thought he was across the way. You think he's just below us?
Yeah. I mean, he might be quite a ways down, but if he's in the very bottom, I doubt we would hear him that good.
Yeah, you're right.
We got perfect wind.
That's a long ways across.
Yeah, no, we've got great wind. I mean, maybe it's across.
No, I don't think I think you're right.
Having snow on the ground usually muffles noise a little bit, so.
God, we've been racing this bull, chasing this bull around the mountain for, I don't know, hour and 15 minutes or something, it feels like. And what I'm doing right now is highly aggressive and highly risky, and I know that. But it can also work if you can get in real tight on him. And we were in real tight on him a few times. Just needed to come like turn and come at you just a little bit to check you out. That's all you're trying to do. And we were real close a few times, but now he's just like, he's taking his cows and they're just running. We're just like chasing them all over this north slope. Super frustrating. I know why he doesn't want to turn around, because I'm like the elk coming to fight him. But also, like when elk aren't being aggressive, bugling a bunch, making any noise, it's kind of hard to know what else to do. Different pool. Gotta be a different pool. I bet that bull was 30 yards away at one point in time. It was so close, man. It sounded just like right there. Just back up here, he was so close.
There's, kind of a playbook, but kind of not really. You got to just kind of make it up as you go. You're ad-libbing the whole time. Should I be more aggressive? Should I hold back? Should I call it all and just slip in?
Bow hunting is always like a game of inches, and it's like I just need that one lucky break, and that's all it takes.
And this also involves a lot of like reading the situation, reading the bull when you're calling, and I find that challenge to be really fun.
It's interesting. It's a good way to be successful. He is willing to look for really prime circumstances and just put in the effort and the time and the energy to find those. Me, if it's pretty good, I'm gonna play it out.
Okay, it's our last full day of hunting. And we got our first hard freeze of the trip, probably of the year, which I'm optimistic it's gonna do something for these elk. So we're gonna go dive off into this canyon and hopefully find a bull that is just turned on to 11.
I much prefer to just kind of try and slip in on them while they're calling, get a bull worked up, let him call, let him work his cows, and then you just slip in while he's doing that and try and shoot him. Way more effective for me. It took me a while to learn that.
Well, that's the end of the hunt for me. Did not, it was last day, didn't go as I'd hoped it'd go, but that's hunting. That's the way it goes sometimes. So I appreciate you watching, and if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, I sure would appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next adventure.